Shalom, shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kadash. Double honors the apostles and the elders of GMS, the rule and teach word and scriptures, and salutations to my Akim that are doing this word in truth and faith and in all sincerity. But today's lesson is just going to be about basically in the news, giving warning and upon this up and coming destruction and the turmoil that is set out by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua. And don't think for one moment that the other nations are going to escape Jacob's trouble, because Jacob's trouble is meant for Jacob, but all the nations are going to feel it. Okay, they're going to feel Jacob's trouble. And so I'll this is a thing from CBC or so like give me one moment.
France continues to be on high alert. You are looking at northeast India, where weeks of deadly ethnic tensions continue to boil over. Dozens of people have died so far. Our South Asia correspondent Salima Shivji has more on the violence and what's driving it. It's been weeks, more than 50 days of violent.
Okay, now remember, there's going to be sedition among men. So this is all included with Jacob's trouble. All right, sedition, turmoil, okay, civil unrest.
Ethnic clashes in India's remote state of Manipur in the northeast, a violence that's rocked a fragile peace in the area between neighbors from different ethnic backgrounds. Protesters clashed again with security forces late yesterday, and earlier in the day, police used tear gas to push back a crowd of supporters there to see the leader of the opposition Congress Party, Rahul Gandhi, as he visited the troubled area. His convoy was briefly blocked for security reasons, police said.
He came here to protect, to ask to know the situation of Manipur, to know the people of Manipur, how much we are suffering.
The outburst of violence began in early May, with entire villages burned to the ground, some people set on fire as well. More than 100 people have been killed.
Okay, now check this out. The Most High Yahweh, Yahushua, is basically, causing all these things to transpire upon the planet. Because this place is ripe for judgment. Now make no mistake, the Lord does not care about the heathen nations and what they do, because they have no dealings with the nation of Israel. That the nation of Israel, meaning you Negroes, Latinos, you Native Americans that are out there scattered abroad. Okay, even those of you that resemble the other nations. Make no mistake, the Lord does not care about the other nations. The other nations were actually created for the children of Israel. Okay, now we believe and understand that. So why would the Lord judge the other nations? The Lord judge the other nations for putting the law, statutes, and commandments, in their mouths, claiming that they're the children of the Most High, the small hats, and those that are claiming to be the children of the Most High. Okay, that's one reason why Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to destroy them. Number two, causing the sin and the anger of the Most High, the anger of the Most High by the way of sin. So, if the other nations are enticing the children of Israel for sin, they can be punished that way. Also, the other nations, the heathen nations, okay, can be punished and will be punished by hurting the apple of the Lord's eye. Those are the children of Israel. So if any heathen, any non-Israelite does anything to any Israelite, okay, we understand there's a time and place for it, but they're ultimately going to be punished, you know. And even the Lord understands this, and He calls this to happen. So you got the deceived and the deceiver are His. So the ones that are being deceived are in the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua's hands, as well as the deceived. So the ones that's doing the trickery and the ones that are being tricked are the ones that are in the hands of the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So trust and believe, if these heathens are going through this turmoil, other than the Lord, you know, making do on His word, these are the reasons why. And so let's play the rest of this clip. This is in, you know, the headline reads, "Dozens dead in India during week of ethnic tensions."
In the clashes, and many thousands more displaced, men, women, and children, many of them huddled in makeshift camps. Long simmering tensions erupted and flared up between the majority.
And also they have, Salaki, also they have the untouchables. Okay, those are Israelites that were scattered into India. And best believe the Lord is coming to redeem the elect of His people, okay, on this first go round. And all of Israel will be in the kingdom of heaven. So let's check this out.
Who are mainly Hindu, and the Christian tribal hill communities called the Kuki, over Meitei demands to actually have access to economic benefits and jobs reserved for hill tribe peoples. Normal life is suspended in Manipur with a curfew, and the internet has been blocked. Basically, the state is divided into ethnic zones with militarized buffer zones separate.
Now, if they harm one hair on the children of Israel, this would be the result, even more so. Okay, huge judgment is coming upon the planet. And so this message goes out to the nation of Israel, and the warning goes out to the other nations to prepare for retribution.
Operating warring communities. The Indian government has sent in some 40,000 troops. It's a heavy security presence, but many in the area are critical of the Indian government's response.
Is Manipur a part of India? If it is, then how come the Prime Minister, which is the parent, the guardian of the country, has not even shed a tear, not even spoke a word? So this is what the people of Manipur are feeling: deep anguish, complete abandonment.
There have been attempts to get peace talks going, and the Indian government also held a meeting about the crisis and invited the opposition parties, something the ruling BJP rarely does. But as peace talks seem to be faltering, there are very real fears that the state is on the brink of civil war. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Mumbai.
Salaki. So, you know, this is definitely happening upon the planet. Let's go into okay. Let's check this out. Search filters. Sure, let's check it out.
They met each other almost 50 years ago. They were so different. He was an untouchable poor Indian boy. She
Israelites.
was a wealthy Swedish tourist. But despite this, Mahanandya and Charlotte fell in love. When she had to return to Sweden, he followed her on a bicycle. It was a difficult journey, but they were joined again. How has their life?
Now remember, the curses will follow Israel everywhere they go.
Today I would like to present a caste system of India from an unexpected side. I would like to show it as I see as biologist. Many of you know that the
Your book. Well, I just wanted to show the viewers what it looks like in case they wanted to know more. And by the way, I do recommend it because there's something very interesting that you've written about, the Criminal Tribes Act. Can you explain it and how it created a category of people that were pretty much doomed from the day they were born?
Well, it's a remarkable period of history, and I don't know whether Deepika ji has encountered it in her research. It was more in Madras, and I think it was in Bengal as well, in fact. The Bengal residency had a lot of experience at the hands of this 1871 Criminal Tribes Act. In a nutshell, the British wanted a law which empowered them to seize assets, to seize wealth, to apply taxation, and to imprison and deconstruct willy-nilly. There were tribes who were particularly a thorn in their sides, and those tribes who were proud tribes with long history, held positions of authority and commanded respect in the communities. They were resistant to the British attempts to conquer and divide and tax. One particular tribe comes to my mind, and they were responsible for the transport of goods. And so imagine the degree of trust that was given to this tribe. They would receive the goods from the merchants. They would protect the goods as they were transported across the country, deposit them with the people who are going to eventually sell them, collect the monies, and then return back to the original manufacturers and make the payments. So these were people who were held with a great degree of trust and in high regard. The British wanted to tax the movement of goods. They wanted to tax it at the point of manufacture and tax it at the point of sale, which meant that this particular industry, this group, were a very major problem for them. And so they introduced this 1871 Criminal Tribes Act to introduce the idea of criminals by birth. In the same way that they have been proliferating this notion that humanity are sinners by birth, they proliferated the idea that there are some tribes who are criminals by birth. And being criminals by birth, their ancestors were criminals, their descendants will be criminals. There is no cure for these people. That was the essence and the crux of this legislation. And it authorized them to seize assets and goods. But it also authorized them to create compounds outside of main urban areas and confine their movement to these compounds. These are concentration camps. And then should these people want to move from that concentration camp, they had to go to a designated British-appointed administrator and secure a pass to allow them to leave the concentration camps, go and do whatever they wanted to do, and then they'd have to show the pass. But one of the other particularly unpleasant aspects of being designated a criminal tribe was that you were not allowed to engage in the normal day-to-day trades. that people would engage in. The only thing that they then had available to them, whereby they could sustain themselves, was the clearing of carcasses, the removal of dead bodies. And so they became the people who were producing the leather and doing the most unpleasant tasks. They created an underclass. And so they created people who they themselves then labeled as untouchables and told the world that it was a product of the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas and everybody else. And yet, this is something that has yet to be acknowledged, it has yet to be explored. But it is a particularly painful development. And they, as I said, the 1871 Act, you can go and get it from Hansard, and it's crystal clear as to what the intent was.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel.
So I ended there, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Tabanas, the apostles and the elders, the GMS that rule and teach world and scriptures, and salutations to Akim that sacrifice in their very lives to push this word. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Until next time, Shalom.